All right, welcome to the Young Turks. I am your host, Cenk. We've got a fun and exciting week ahead for you guys, and it starts with, as usual, wonderful, awesome Democratic capitulation. Of course. That was at the end of last week. I will get to that in 1 second, but I want to also let you know we do have other things on the show, including, it turns out, we'll also be staying in Iraq longer, and for just $19.95, you can also get, on this program, a disastrous Michael Savage clip. We haven't done Michael Savage in a while. That guy is an awesome lunatic. So we'll have a little bit of fun with that. And then a Republican has a fantastic defense of the oil companies. I love it. So a lot to get to on the show. But let's start with the biggest news of all, which is that the Democrats suck. Which actually, of course, is no news at all. It's what you know and you've seen. I mean, to the point where this is like another Halloween movie? Isn't this like the 13th Halloween movie released on Friday the 13th of 2013? I don't know. I've seen it before, right? But this one was historic. Historic collapse on the part of the Democrats at the end of the so-called budget negotiations, where the Republicans got almost everything they wanted. In fact, they got more than they could have ever imagined. John Boehner literally said that at one point, before the negotiations were even over. Originally, of course, Barack Obama came out, just to review real quick, and gave his $40 billion concession from his 2011 budget proposal. He got no credit for it, didn't ask for any credit for it. You know, that goes towards what a bad politician he is. Because you can't argue that, because you can argue that, hey, listen, he's trying to seem centrist, and that's why he's agreeing with the Republicans, and that's why he's seeming to cave in on negotiations. But even if you believe that, and that is your ultimate goal, well, why didn't you ask for any public credit for $40 billion in cuts? That's because you're a bad politician, and you don't know how to make your own case. So that was out the window before anybody even had a discussion. We started at square one, and then you guys know the whole drill. $4 billion, $6 billion, $20 billion, $3 billion. And then we got to the point where the president had given away $33 extra billion, when in the beginning the Republicans had only asked for 32. Okay, so it was already an epic collapse. It was already a disaster of historic proportions. Now, later, the Republicans had moved their request to 61 because of Tea Party pressure. They're playing good cop, bad cop on Obama. They're like, this guy's a sucker. It's the easiest mark in the world. Oh, no. Oh, look, the Tea Party is twisting my arm. I am going to need more concessions. And when the president came out and seemed to draw the line in the beginning of last week and said, all right, $33 billion. I told you on this program that there ain't no way in the world he's going to stick to $33 billion, that he's going to give them a lot more in cuts. Now, people say I say that because I don't like the president. That's absurd. Then why did we spend all that time trying to elect him? No, of course not. I hope that the president is awesome. I wish he were. I wish he were a great leader. I wish that every single day. I wake up with that hope every day. But every day that hope is disappointed. Okay, so I told you that based on experience, because it's my job to follow this. And of course, again, I was right. So the president gave them concessions of $38.5 billion. He gave them $6.5 billion more in cuts than they originally asked for. Now, how bad a negotiator can you be? If you told me somebody was that bad a negotiator, I wouldn't believe it. I think they must have some other motive. Okay, I mean, that is unbelievable. And by the way, if that weren't enough, they're so proud that they're like, oh yeah, well, we didn't give in on any of the riders on Planned Parenthood or the EPA, except they kind of did in Washington, D.C. They threw Washington under the bus, saying, okay, the Republicans get their way against family planning in Washington. It's just a minor concession. Who cares about the people in D.C.? Okay. So, in the end, what the president and the Democrats should come out and be a little embarrassed, right? And say, oh, God, forget embarrassed, right? Say, oh, these cuts were tough, man. I can't believe we did these cuts. You know, that's got to be it, right? Of course not. In the end, the president and the Democrats came out and said, what a wonderfully historic moment this was, and what great accomplishments they have brought to the American people. I laugh at you, man. All right, here comes President Obama to celebrate his enormous defeat. Clip number 1.
Tomorrow, I'm pleased to announce that the Washington Monument, as well as the entire federal government, will be open for business. And that's because today, Americans of different beliefs came together again. In the final hours before our government would have been forced to shut down, leaders in both parties reached an agreement that will allow our small businesses to get the loans they need, our families to get the mortgages they applied for, and hundreds of thousands of Americans to show up at work and take home their paychecks on time, including our brave men and women in uniform. This agreement between Democrats and Republicans, on behalf of all Americans, is on a budget that invests in our future while making the largest annual spending cut in our history. Like any worthwhile compromise, both sides had to make tough decisions and give ground on issues that were important to them. And I certainly did that. Some of the cuts we agreed to will be painful. Programs people rely on will be cut back. Needed infrastructure projects will be delayed. And I would not have made these cuts in better circumstances. But beginning to live within our means is the only way to protect those investments that will help America compete for new jobs. A few months ago, I was able to sign a tax cut for American families because both parties worked through their differences and found common ground. Now the same cooperation will make possible the biggest annual spending cut in history. And it's my sincere hope that we can continue to come together as we face the many difficult challenges that lie ahead.
So, 2 different times he says, biggest spending cut in history. Aren't I awesome? Yeah, you would be if you were a Republican president. Then you could boast about the biggest spending cuts in history. As a Democrat, you're supposed to say, hey, you know what? If we're going to do spending cuts, and Democrats don't say, and I certainly don't say, that we should never do spending cuts, not even close. That if we're going to do them, then it should be shared sacrifice. We should also raise taxes. Instead, we cut taxes just a couple of months ago. And by the way, did we make up how much we cut in taxes in terms of this spending cut? Not even close. Not remotely close. We're talking about 10% of the tax cuts we gave away to the rich, we just cut from the middle class and the poor. Wow, what a historic accomplishment. This is a joke. All it is a redistribution of wealth, and they've got a Democratic president up there bragging about it. And he says, we have to live within our means, and, this is the time that we have to do that. And, I mean, it's reinforcing one Republican talking point after another, saying we have found common ground, basically owning this agreement, saying he's in favor of it. Of course, in fact, he's bragging about that compromise, and he said both sides have to give up something. Really? What did the Republicans give up? They originally asked for $32 billion. They got $38.5 billion. What did they give up? Nothing. Oh, well, they didn't get to kill Planned Parenthood. Wow, what a great victory. You know what the polling is on Planned Parenthood? 2-to-1 support across the country. He's bragging that he kind of won on an issue that was not even an issue. That if you had brought it to the American people, the Republicans would have gotten hammered on. That's why Reid brought it up at the end, as if like that's what's holding up Planned Parenthood, and that'll be our big victory when we protect Planned Parenthood. Because he saw those 2-to-1 polls. In fact, I know because I read an article where Harry Reid's office said we saw the polls, we were encouraged by that. Then that's your big victory? Holding on to something that already existed and is supported by 2-to-1 of the people? They suck. But speaking of sucking and Harry Reid, let him also declare victory here. Clip number 2.
This is historic what we've done. $78.5 billion below the 2011 budget that we have been working off of. We've worked on many riders. It's what we've done has been difficult but important for the country. We all agree that there are many cuts that have to take place in the future. We understand that. We must get this country's fiscal house in order. But if the American people have to make tough choices, and they're doing it every day, so should their leaders. That's our responsibility, all 100 of us, and 435 members of the House. The Speaker and I have reached an agreement that I've read that will cut spending and keep the country running. We've agreed to a historic level of cuts for the remainder of this fiscal year, as well as a short-term bridge that will give us time to avoid a shutdown while we get this agreement through both houses and to the President. I repeat, we will cut $78.5 billion, and we've reached an agreement, I repeat for the second time, on the policy riders. I do that because that has not been easy.
I'm starting to get physically ill as I watch these Democrats. My disdain for them is limitless. It knows no bounds. This guy comes in and he's like, oh, we have reached historic $78.5 billion in cuts. Yet, dude, but you're not the Republican leader. Yes, you should be bragging about that if you were a Republican. If you're a Democrat, you shouldn't even held a press conference. Here's the only things I needed to hear for you. Step up to the mic and say, I'm sorry. Drop the mic and leave. I'm sorry, because we suck. We get rolled over every time by these Republicans. Originally, they wanted $72 billion, but we gave them $78.5 instead. You know what Politico described this as? Because, Washington Insiders, and Politico is the ultimate insider paper, inside Washington, along with the Washington Post. They described it as last-minute heroics for Obama. Heroics! It's like, let's say we're, haggling over a car. And the guy says to me, all right, here, give me $10,000 for this car. And it's a used car, I only want to give him $5,000, right? And in the middle of the negotiations, he sees that I've already up to $10,000. He's like, oh yeah, give me $20,000 for it. I come in and I give him $18,000 for it. At the last possible minute, we reach a deal. Is that last minute heroics? Did I strike a great deal? He was originally asked for $10,000. Why the hell did I give him $18,000 for that piece of junk? No, last minute heroics. I got a deal. I got a deal. Anybody can get a deal. You just walk into any shop you like and pay more than they're asking, and you'll have a heroic deal on your hands. This is the White House idea of being a hero. So now, finally, people are catching on to what I've been saying for how long now, right? So now you got Paul Krugman, even Ezra Klein of the Washington Post, all saying, what happened to Obama? So Paul Krugman is writing, Obama's missing. That's what he wrote today. As Bush would say, where's Obama? Okay, I don't want to say the rest of that. I don't want the rest of that quote. But anyway, so he's saying, what happened to that guy, that leader that we saw who, came out and had those great speeches in 2008 and inspired us all? That was all to come in and do deals like this? He's like, look, I guess I should be happy that people have come around to my position, but I am not. I wish that I was disastrously wrong. I wish I was a fool and didn't know what I was talking about. And it turns out Obama is incredibly impressive. And all the opinion leaders eventually come around and go, what an idiot Cenk was. Look at how impressive Obama was. But that's not the case. They all come around now and say what I said 6 months ago, a year ago, and even longer. Krugman is saying, are you ever going to stand up for your side? You know they are in opposition to you. You should not be bragging about getting these spending cuts. And now that this was round one, because now they're thinking of shutting down the government and they've got this huge cuts coming on the way. If you gave in this much in round one, imagine what's going to happen in round two and round three. Exactly. Look, I'm going to tell you in a second what... by the way, one more thing, actually, on that before I tell you what the Republicans have on their way, okay? By the way, another blog post that Krugman put up said, celebrating defeat. Ezra Klein wrote, the Democrats believe it's good to look like a winner, even if you've lost. But what can the poor Democrats do? All they ever do is lose. So they have to always spin their losses as victories because they're losers. They don't know how to win. All they know is how to lose. And, by the way, I'm perfectly happy to have them prove me wrong. As I say every single time, I can't wait. Can't wait, as Bart Scott would say. Can't wait for them to prove me wrong. But they're never going to because they're losers. Okay. By the way, were the Republicans ever not going to have a deal? Nope. They were going to have a deal no matter what. They would have taken the deal at $32 billion. They would have taken it even at lower. How do I know that? Well, it's because I follow politics, which apparently not very many other people do. Okay? A lot of the Washington insiders that think they know what they're talking about. Chamber of Commerce wanted them to do a deal. If the Chamber of Commerce pressures the Republicans to do a deal, you're going to have a deal, okay? They didn't want the government shut down. Who do you think John Boehner works for? John Boehner doesn't work for the Tea Party. John Boehner doesn't work for the voters. John Boehner works for the Chamber of Commerce. And they said, you will not have a shutdown. And believe me, his boss is. He's not going to have a shutdown. He was just playing with Obama and Reid. Now people talking about, oh, Boehner, was this a loss for him? On what planet? Look, I want Boehner to negotiate my next car, okay? Maybe, in that analogy I used earlier, he'd go into the used car dealership and get the used car guy to pay me $5,000 to take the car from him. Especially if the guy doing the sale is Obama. All right, so they were never going to not have a deal. And by the way, John Boehner had said before the negotiations concluded that that a shutdown would have been disastrous for the Republicans. Karl Rove said this shutdown would have been disastrous for the Republicans. They didn't want a shutdown. In fact, if they had gotten a shutdown, President Obama and the Democrats would have won because the Republicans would have looked so unreasonable. But even though they had all this leverage, of course, the Democrats were like, oh, look at that. We gave them everything anyway. I know you already got it, right? I mean, I already told you my disdain for them is limitless. But I'm going to keep pounding away, man. Because and there's a reason for it. I wrote an article about it this weekend, as usual, on Daily Kos. Oh, how dare you! The president is a genius. How could you not see his genius? And I asked people to defend him, okay? I said, look, you tell me how giving away $38.5 billion made sense. Of course, no one had a counter-argument. No one, right? Instead, here was one entire blog written about it, about how I was being unfair to the president because he inherited 2 wars in a recession. Wait a minute. What did the 2 wars have to do with this budget battle? Oh, poor Obama. Oh, no, he inherited 2 wars. One of which he decided to escalate. The other one, which I'm going to tell you in a second, turns out we're not leaving. Oh, poor Obama. That case. So, okay, I asked this counter question. Would you have given the same exact excuse if he'd given away $48.5 billion, $58.5 billion, $68.5 billion? The answer is yes. No matter what, you would have said, oh, poor Obama. He had 2 wars. He had to give the Republicans everything they wanted. It's a joke, man. All right, there's more jokes like that that I want to rip into a little later. But anyway, I wrote the piece. It's not to rub it in their face. It's to tell you there's a giant fight coming, okay? That when the Republicans don't want to cut billions, they want to cut trillions. They want to gut Medicare and Medicaid. That fight is coming. Look, if the Democrats do in that fight what they have done all throughout Obama administration and all throughout the Bush administration, which is cave, capitulate, concede, surrender, it will be a disaster of epic proportions. And the Republicans already know that. Look, here's Eric Cantor. He said, oh, you know what? We have the clip, actually. Let me go to clip number 7 to give you a sense of what the Republicans think. Let's watch.
Chris, just as we saw happen this week in Washington, there comes at time leverage moments here, a time at which the White House and the president will actually capitulate to what the American people want right now. They don't want to raise taxes. They don't want spending to continue to spiral out of control. And those are the kinds of things and mechanisms, whether it's spending caps, entitlement reforms, budget process reforms, these are the kinds of things that we're going to have in order to go along with the debt limit increase.
You hear the critical words there? He said this is a leverage moment because you've got the lifting of the debt ceiling coming up. Now both sides should not want America to default, but the Republicans think we don't care. But we know Obama cares a lot. He's already crying about it. He sent Tim Geithner out there to say, oh, we have to do it right away. Please, please, Republicans, I'm begging for mercy. The negotiations haven't even begun yet, okay? So that's why Cantor can come out there and strut. He's the House Majority Leader for the Republicans and say, This is a leverage moment. We're going to hold the country hostage again. Because look at what a sucker this administration is. What are we going to do? And did you notice the second word he used? Capitulate. He said, it's time for the Democrats and the president to capitulate again. And he's right. That's what they do. They know it. Now, look, here's what Cantor says about spending cuts. He said they were, quote, dragged kicking and screaming to the table to cut spending. Because he's trying to rub it into Obama. Oh, you can't cut spending more than us. I know you want to seem reasonable, centrist, and moderate, but we're the guys who cut spending. You don't cut spending. You did it because of us. And, of course, that gets under Obama's skin. I'm going to tell you what the reaction is in a second. He also said this spending deal that was cut this week was only the beginning. This was only the first bite of the apple. We've been saying that all along. So he's saying, oh, you like these cuts? You like the capitulation that the Democrats just gave you? Wait till you get a load of the next round. So what was the reaction of the White House? Well, they sent David Plouffe out there. He, of course, is top advisor to the president. He said, my hope is it will be clear that we can achieve deficit reduction. We don't disagree that we can't continue on this fiscal path. Of course, the White House coming out there, serving it up on a platter for the Republicans. We totally agree with the Republicans. We're on a terrible fiscal path and we must cut spending. We could cut them. Oh, yeah? Cantor goaded us? Oh, we could out-Republican any Republican. He continues. Plouffe says, you can't look at any cuts as we're embracing the Republican orthodoxy. The president believes we need to reduce the deficit and cut spending. It's how you do it. He's saying, no, it's not a Republican idea. It's our idea. We will cut spending more than the Republicans. Why did you run as a Democrat then? Why didn't you just be honest with the American people and run as a Republican? Then we would have said, okay, hey, look at that. There's a moderate Republican. Kind of. And maybe that would have been an interesting choice. Why did you pretend to do all that stuff about change and hope and stuff like that? I mean, so your idea of change was you can out-Republican Republicans? After Bush, that's the change we voted for? For you to brag about how you're going to do deeper spending cuts than the Republicans? That was the change you were thinking? Oh, come on, man. And so, with this debt ceiling coming up and the real budget negotiations over trillions coming up, if you thought this buckle and this cave-in, and in the words of Eric Cantor, this capitulation by the president was bad, wait till you get a load of the next round. All right, I'm going to tell you more about that when we come back. Young Turks.
Welcome back to the Young Turks. Anna and Cenk with you. I want to remind you guys that tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to do another episode of TYT University. So far, the show's gotten a very positive response, so if you haven't checked it out yet, I want you to check it out. If you're a student and you want to upload one of your videos, it's really simple. All you do is go to upload.theyoungturks.com and you upload a video of 5 minutes or less. And if we like it, we're going to play it live on the Young Turks. If we really, really like it, we're going to upload it onto our own TYTU YouTube channel, which, by the way, is youtube.com/TYT University. So even if you're not a student yourself, it's really interesting to look at what's happening with higher education right now. All the cuts that are being made, all of the politics behind it. Fascinating stuff. So I encourage you guys to check it out. And what I love is that we're hearing from so many students from across the country. We're hearing from students abroad. It's really great stuff. So check it out tomorrow. Cenk, have you been watching?
I have. I actually love TYTU. And you're doing a great job of hosting it. And the thing I like most is the interaction with people from across the country. Look, in my ideal world, we have all these TYT reporters, de facto reporters throughout the country reporting on all the things that are going on in colleges. Look, every college has something interesting in it. And I know because my nephews are in college. And if they send videos to you, I think it could develop into like the show for all the universities to watch. Anyway, as you can tell, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I just want to say one other thing. So we have some students who have already submitted videos, and we've played them on the show, and they've gone on to submit even more videos. One example is John. John made his appearance on the very first TYT University episode, and he was talking about the legislation in Texas that would allow concealed carry on campuses. And he did a really great report. He had another report for us that we didn't use, unfortunately, because we had already talked about the topic he mentioned. Anyway, John, I love the work. You guys can resubmit work. You guys can send us a video every week, okay? We want regular correspondence as well. So John is in the running for that. Also, he's a cutie, okay? I talk about that with the guys every once in a while, so... So he's great. You guys should definitely check him out. And maybe we'll have another video from him for tomorrow's episode. Anyway, let's move on to the next story. So right now, Texas is considering legislation that would allow drivers to go up to 85 miles per hour on some roads. This legislation is fascinating because I myself am a little bit of a speed demon on the road. Not a big deal. But what's amazing is right now in Texas, there are some highways that allow drivers to go 80 miles per hour, and some people are complaining that that is not fast enough. So the House in Texas has already approved this legislation that would allow drivers to go 85 miles per hour. And now this legislation needs to be approved by the Senate in Texas. But the question is this a good idea? Is 85 miles per hour too fast? And believe it or not, I think it just might be. And I got to keep in mind, they're not just randomly deciding, like, let's go 85 miles per hour. You know, of course, they're doing studies behind this. They're talking to engineers. They're doing traffic studies, and they want to make sure it's safe before they actually do pass this legislation. But 85 miles per hour, that's significantly faster than, you know, back in the 1990s, before the federal government deregulated speeding to allow states to make their own laws. You know, the speed limit was 55 miles per hour, which is insanely slow. I could not imagine driving 55 miles per hour on a freeway or a highway.
It's as if Anna is saying, I can't drive 55. There's no way Anna's going to get that reference.
No, not
it's
at
an
all.
old Sammy Hagar song.
Oh
Okay,
my God,
anyway.
Anna's so stupid. She doesn't know who Sammy Hagar is. She doesn't know that song.
Okay,
Let's fire her. All right, move on.
Just calm down. Just please calm down. Bring it down. All right. Anyway, no. When I was growing up, it was 55. It was ridiculous, and it's funny that you don't even remember when it was 55 speed limit.
You know why? Because I
and,
was 7. That's why I don't remember.
You just calm. 10-2, 10-2. 85-55. 85-55. Okay. So 55 is definitely too slow. Yeah, I'm with you, Anna. At 85, that's pretty fast. Okay. On those open roads in Texas, okay, I mean, I can see, but I wouldn't go past 85. And I like to speed too. But if you've reached Anna's outer point on speeding, that's pretty damn fast. Okay, she's underplaying how much she speeds. So, Texas, you're getting there. Now, I'll add a conspiracy theory to it, which I don't even really believe. You know, the faster you drive, the more gas you use.
Right.
The more oil companies make. Interesting that Texas would be the first state to encourage you to drive faster. Think about it.
I think that is not far-fetched. I think that conspiracy theory might have a little legitimacy behind it. In fact, just to give you guys some real numbers, for every 5 miles per hour you drive over 60 miles per hour, you're paying an extra 24 cents per gallon of gas, right? Which can add up. I mean, I definitely think it's worth it. Going 60 miles per hour is way too slow. But you definitely do burn gas a lot faster when you're driving very fast. So I don't know, maybe that is a possibility, Cenk. But yeah, just going back to the fact that 85 miles per hour is too fast, it really is. And look, when I was driving to work today, for like 2 seconds, a little longer than 2 seconds, I tried it out because I wanted to see how fast it feels. And I'm like, Jesus, this is way too fast. Like, you have to be able to respond to some emergency situation. What if you're going 85 miles per hour on a road that's, you know, abandoned, and all of a sudden there's a car crash and you need to react to it? Like, there's a car crash in front of you, you see it coming, you need a lot of time to react, and the faster you're going, the more time you need to react to something. 85 miles per hour just seemed a little too fast for me. I think 80 is fast enough, but I don't know. That's just my opinion.
All right, that's just transparent. You know, one last quick thing on this. Since I'm fancy now, I have I'm fancy, huh? Anyway, I had a driver take me to the airport to get back to New York. Please. And he was Armenian. And he was on a rant on a similar topic. And he's like, this is worse than Soviet Union. Because he came from Armenia. And he used to live under the Soviet Union, of course. He's like, what the speed limits and all the rules and regulations. The worst Armenian accent of all time.
Worst.
By the way, he spoke perfectly fluent Turkish. We spoke Turkish the whole time. He was awesome.
Oh, that's great. My dad speaks Turkish too. And in fact, when you came to my graduation party, before he met you and got to talk to you, he kept like telling me Turkish sayings in Turkish, even though I don't speak Turkish. He's like, I'm going to tell your boss that one. And I was like, Dad, no, please don't do that. You're embarrassing
No,
me.
what? I want to go back and hang out with Papa Kasparian more now, so we can talk in Turkish. Anyway, the reason I brought that up is because what is it with you Armenians that you love to speed?
It's not that we love to speed. It's just that we like to get places quicker than a snail's pace. You know what I mean? Like,
That's the quote of the day. It's not that we like to speed. We just like to get to places quicker.
okay, calm down. I said quicker than a snail's pace. 55 miles per hour is ridiculous. By the way, in most freeways in Los Angeles, 65 miles per hour is the speed limit. No one here at all, no one goes 65 miles per hour. That's crazy. By the way, since you shared a driver story, Cenk, I have to share my driver story too. Okay, because this is going to make you laugh. So on Friday, I did a segment on MSNBC with Cenk, right? And it's in Burbank. I have to go to the NBC studios in Burbank. And MSNBC always offers a driver. And look, gas prices are expensive, and I'm not getting paid to do the MSNBC thing, right? So if they're offering a driver, you betcha I'm going to take it, okay? So they asked if I wanted one. They sent one over. And the driver was actually originally from New York, so he had the New Yorker accent and everything, and he's very talkative. So he's asking me a million questions about what I do for work and what my plans are for the future, and I told him that it's very likely that I'm going to move to New York soon. So I was asking him questions about New York, and he's like, "You're young. Why are you going to move to New York? It looks like you got it made over here in Los Angeles." And I was like, yeah, I don't have it made in Los Angeles. You are mistaken. Just because you're picking me up in this car doesn't mean I got money, okay? But, you know, he was asking me questions about you, Cenk, and about whether or not I really love what I do and if it's worth the move. And I was like, yeah, I think it is. So then I go and I do MSNBC, and then Cenk and I walk out of the studios together, and the driver was waiting for me. And then I get into the car, the driver sees me talking to Cenk, everything. And he's like, that's the guy that you're going to move for? That's your boss? Nah. You can't do that. You stay in Los Angeles. And I was like, what? Based on what? He didn't even speak one word to Cenk. He just saw me talking to Cenk, and then I walked into the car. That was the first thing he said to me. It was awesome. Nah, that guy?
I love this guy. Based on what? And I always had a suit. I looked respectable. But I like that he looks at me and goes, this schlep, you gotta go to New York over there, schlep over here. Oh, hell no, man, don't do that. Maybe he saw my car. Because, you know, we get out of the studio together in Burbank, and Anna has the driver waiting to open the door. And I'm like, you fancy, huh? Right? And I go to my Pontiac Grand D that I drove with. By the way, maybe he saw the car and he's like, oh, this guy in the Pontiac? Please.
Maybe.
You shouldn't move over. And if we do move, you have this to look forward to. It brought me this far. I've had the car for 10 years. It's part of TYT history. It got stolen. It got returned, et cetera, et cetera. But the air conditioner stopped working. I can't do it anymore. But I've decided, you know what? If we move to New York, I'm going to put it up on eBay.
Oh.
And then maybe I'll do Obama-like negotiations. I'm putting it up for $10,000. Okay, I'll pay you $2,000 to take.
You know, someone might be crazy enough to buy it. How much are you going to start the bidding at, Cenk? 5 cents?
No, look, you know me, I'm keeping it real. I don't think you should pay over $500. But hey, if you want to pay more and the bidding goes up, I'll take it.
Hey, it's celebrity owned, dude. You got to build this up right.
Yeah.
Cenk Uygur of MSNBC and the Young Turks sells his car he farted in. You can sit in it too.
You know, if I do a whole long story of all the different things that have happened in that car, you know, it is part of our history. I mean, it got stolen the same night that our offices got broken into, et cetera, et cetera. And the things that I found in the car, the things I did in the car. All right. But it could be interesting.
Cenk.
And if you're in the look, if you know about cars and you can fix all the different problems with it, and maybe it's a good deal. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, when I put it up on eBay.
All right, let's get to some more stories, guys. So the International Center for Media and Public Affairs at the University of Maryland found that when teenagers abstain from texting and other tech activities, they experience symptoms similar to drug withdrawal. This is an incredible story, okay, because it shows you how addicted we are to technology, to the internet, to texting, our cell phones. We're constantly plugged. And as soon as we unplug ourselves, we start feeling anxious, stressed out, jealous, hostile. So what the University of Maryland did is they did this study of 2,000 students, not just in the United States, okay? They talked to students from Latin America, Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and Asia. And they asked them all to go without gadgets for 24 hours and then write about their experiences. Some of them wrote as if their world was coming to an end. So I'm going to give you an example. One student wrote, media is my drug. Without it, I was lost. I'm an addict. I don't need alcohol, cocaine, or any other derailing form of social depravity. I just need my drug. I had this somewhat hideous realization at about 7 p.m. on Sunday, October 24th. I paced, I pondered the meaning of life, and then I panicked. How could I survive 24 hours without it? How could I go on? So this teenager is freaking out. He or she does not know what to do. And, the majority of people who participated in the study had a similar reaction to being unplugged. And this is just for 24 hours. This isn't some long period of time where you're without technology.
Yeah, you know what, though? I hear him. Like, when I'm on vacation, I'm always, antsy to check my email or our Twitter account, which is at the Young Turks, not a big deal, and check how my blog is doing, how our YouTube videos are doing. And Wendy's always like, yeah. She has to rough talk me and run me off of social media. So I hear what the kids are saying.
No, I feel the exact same way, Cenk. The last real vacation I took was last year when I went to Jamaica, and I talked to Verizon, which is the phone company I'm with, about long-distance phone calls, and I wanted to make sure the internet worked on my phone. And I was like, look, I'll pay the extra money. Just please make sure that my phone works when I'm in Jamaica. I need it. I want to go on the internet. I want to make phone calls. I want to text. I need all of it. They're like, yeah, no worries. We set up your phone. You're fine. I went to Jamaica. My phone's not working. And it was so crazy because for a week, I can't use the internet. I can't use my phone at all. I have no access to the outside world. And it's scary because you want to relax and you want to be unplugged, and you need that. Your brain needs that. You just need to calm down and relax a little bit and de-stress. But you can't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I needed to know what was going on in the news. I needed to know what was going on here at work. And that constant feeling of being plugged is something that you grow addicted to. So it's very interesting to see that, teenagers have these feelings of jealousy when they are unplugged and they see other teenagers using technology, which is another finding of the study. Some teenagers who participated would look at other students or, they would look at their peers and they would be texting and they'd be using their technology and they would feel this immense sense of jealousy.
By the way, on a separate note, now I'll go back to being Grandpa Cenk. Kids are texting too much these days.
Oh, calm down.
Can you get more of a Grandpa Cenk comment than that? It's not possible, right?
No.
But I remember back in the days that when, in high school, I'd talk to girls, on the phone for quite some time, for certain different reasons, right? These days, they stay up until 3 a.m. texting. Pick up the fucking phone and talk to her, man. Say, text this, text, and every single text is like JimJablowski.com. I don't know. It's just like, none of it makes any sense to me. I'm totally Grandpa Cenk on texting.
You are Grandpa Cenk, and I'll tell you what the benefit of texting is. When you're texting someone, you have a lot more control over the conversation, and control is a beautiful thing. And what I mean by that is, when you're on the phone and someone's talking your ear off, it always puts you in an uncomfortable position to tell that person to stop talking and you got to go. right? But if you're texting, you control the conversation in terms of how long the conversation goes on, what you get to say. You know, as you're texting, maybe you're writing something that might be a little controversial, and as you're doing it, you can edit yourself before sending that text. There are definitely benefits to texting. So you're being a little bit of a downer, but there is a downside to it. You lose a little bit of that chemistry from the conversation. You know, you lose a little bit of that interaction that you would typically get from a phone conversation. So there are downsides,
Listen,
but you're being a little too grandpa-ish for it.
I know that, right? But I watched over my nephews as they texted on Facebook one day. It was like a little anthropology experiment. I wanted to put on like an Indiana Jones hat and like watch them as I looked at how do the natives interact here in this, context. And half the messages are like, ha, lol, lols, ha, hoo, bow, choo, blow. And you're like, okay, please say something. Please. I mean, it's literally 50% of the messages were, ha, okay. And I was like, first of all, nothing that you guys have said is even remotely funny, let alone that funny, let alone 50% of the reaction being lol or ha.
Cenk is right, okay? In fact, if young people were having a phone conversation, it would be deeper and it would be much more intellectual. So let's allow them to do the phone conversations instead of the text. More important conversations happen that way.
Yeah, it's age group based, I think.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to teenagers, like my niece and my nephew, like just Facebook comments or little postings. Bored, text me. Oh, text me. Nothing to do, text me. If you ain't got nothing to talk about, why the hell am I texting you? So I can hear you go, I'm bored. I don't want to talk to you. You ain't got nothing to say. So it's like it's just to get something to flash in your face. It has nothing to do about saying anything. And if you can't, and I understand the whole thing about not wanting to talk to someone and you want to control the conversation. I totally agree with you. That's adults.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to teenagers, man, seriously, they're losing conversation skills. Now, if somebody's talking too much, it's very valuable to say, hey, I gotta go. Shut up. I gotta go. Mm-hmm. Not shut up because that's rude, but just kind of like, hey. Sorry, I gotta go. Because then, you're losing touch of a normal human conversation.
Interaction,
yeah,
right.
And then to at least be able to have the skill to talk to someone. Now, if you actually have to talk to someone, you go, type it to you because I can't talk to you.
Right.
We're turned into machines.
I see more of that problem emerging because of social media, like because of Facebook and because of MySpace. I mean, I have friends that I've been friends with since I was a little girl, and we interact face-to-face on a regular basis, and if they want to talk to me, they'll call me. Like my best friend Lauren, she'll always call me if she wants to talk to me. But a lot of my new friends, it's almost as if they're uncomfortable talking to me on the phone. So if they want to reach me or contact me, they'll message me through Facebook. And I'm like, who are you? You're my friend. You can pick up the phone and give me a call. It won't be that weird, I swear to God. So I think there's definitely an issue with Facebook. Did I say MySpace a couple seconds ago? Does anybody use MySpace, really? But, some people do. So some people use MySpace, any type of social networking site. Like the second a friend tweets me to get my attention, then we have a serious problem. Like, pick up the phone.
It's funny that you're 24 and you're already old school. Okay? Because it's moving 100 miles an hour. One last thing on this. A friend of mine, when we were young, he had this awkward thing about getting off the phone, too, to JR's point. Like, everybody at some point goes, all right, we gotta go, and then you hang up, right? But Sujay didn't like that. He always wanted to be the first to go. So he didn't like being hung up on. So, like, in the middle of a conversation, if he felt that there was a pause where you were going to say, gotta go or something, you're like, so I was getting a sandwich, and he's like, all right, gotta go, boom, and he'd hang up on you. I was like, okay, all right, what? Oh, he's gone already. And you know what? Throughout the years, he's gotten better at that, to JR's point.
That is awesome. All right, let's get one more story in, and this is the story that I'm really looking forward to in terms of Cenk's reaction. So there was a fashion show. It was Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week in Russia, and there was one designer who had an Orthodox Jew-inspired collection. Okay, so we have some photos of this collection. Very Orthodox chic. Okay, you got the hats and the bow ties going on. So I saw this, and the first thing I thought was, I can see it as being artistic. I can see the artistic appeal to it, but really, are most people gonna want to wear this? Am I gonna wear that funky hat? Am I gonna wear the shawl? Probably not. And that's the thing about runway fashion. I feel like some of the best designers out there, they design beautiful garments, beautiful dresses, just beautiful clothing in general. But then you go to the runway shows, and this is why I've never really been into Fashion Week. You go to the runway shows, and they always do stuff like this, where you're like, that no one's gonna wear that, right? But you're doing it for the artistic appeal. You're doing it to like stand out and be a little controversial. So
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cenk.
All right, here we go. Time to release the Kraken. Fashion is unbearable. Absurd. Okay, who would wear that hat? If you're not Orthodox Jewish and you wore that hat, you would look like the world's largest jackass.
Oh.
Okay? And you would. I mean, look. And then you got they got these gorgeous models in it. So you're looking at it and you're like, wow, I wish the people who wore that looked like that, because the rest of it is not Orthodox. You know what I'm saying? They're more covered up, the real Orthodox Jews. Here they got like the sexy boots and they got the skirts up to their, coochies. Barely. Right? And they're like Orthodox chic. But you might be able to see my, vajayjay. Okay, but I got the giant freaking hat, like a UFO landed on my head. I don't know how you guys respect it. It's hard to respect it. I mean, if that's art, it's preposterous art to begin with. Okay, but they've been doing this for a long time. I love the Jean-Paul Gaultier video from 1993 too, because this one didn't have my favorite hats. The other one has my favorite Orthodox Jewish hats. Can we show that real quick?
Yeah, they're coming out. So as you guys can see, the models are wearing those massive hats. And the thing is, this is what I always wonder, right, with top designers. So they do this for the runway, but like, let's say you're one of the spectators, right? Well, let's say you're watching the show and you happen to like the big hats. And you go to Jean-Paul Gaultier's store in Italy and you decide you want to purchase this hat. Is that hat for purchase? Like, is it available for purchase? Or did you just use it for the runway? I don't know. I know that they're doing it because they want to get attention and there's, an artistic appeal to it. But really, why? Why is it appealing in any way, shape, or form? How did you even come up with it? How did you even think of it? Shouldn't the fashion show be about the clothes that you're selling? Because I guarantee you go to one of his stores, you're not going to find a massive hat.
Okay, last two things on this. One, if I'm at a party and some chick walks in with that giant fucking hat, okay? All right, number one, I'm definitely going to talk to her because there's no way it isn't going to be amusing, okay? Number two, there is less than 0% chance that I would date her, okay? Unless she was hot. Okay, so perhaps a little higher. But come on, I'm going to get along with a person that wears that fucking hat, okay? For fun, because they think it's chic. Okay, unless they're making it's a gag, it's like a Halloween outfit. Okay, then it's funny, right? Now, as to the actual Orthodox Jews, now we're going to get massively un-PC here. I just don't believe in fundamentalist religion, no matter what the religion is. Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Jewish as well, okay? But I'm amazed that they think that this is the way to heaven. I'm amazed by it. They live their whole lives with this thick coat, and I've told this before, on Miami Beach, it's like 90 and the most humid thing you've ever seen. They got this giant Russian coat and this freaking hat that's like this big, and they come in and they wear that, and they're so hot and they're sweating, and they got the beard already, they're sweating, and they go through that for like decades because they think that they're going to get up to heaven, and God's going to be like, you and the G's, get out of here, scat, right? And you in the skirt, no way. The guy in the funny hat, winner, chicken dinner, coming to heaven. Like, that's how God's going to make his decision? I mean, come on, man. Please do something else with your life.
Yeah, I don't know how to respond to that, but that was definitely on PC. So the disclaimer made sense. Yeah. All right, that's all I got for you guys.
I can go further if you like.
No, I mean, I think we got the picture, Cenk. I mean, you shared your opinion and you basically told everyone
That's how I say it.
Okay, so we all got it. We got it. You know, but look, it's their culture, and I do believe in respecting people's cultures. I don't agree with fundamentalists in any type of religion either anyway, but if that's the way that they want to dress, that's the way that they want to dress. It doesn't harm me. It doesn't bother me. So if they want to do it, then go ahead. Wear the big, thick coats in the middle of Miami Beach.
No. All right, you're going to goad me into saying one last thing, okay?
Go ahead.
And I think you're doing it on purpose. Anyway,
No, I'm not.
you know me. You know me. I don't respect their culture, and I don't have to respect their culture. Okay. Now, being an American, if it was seriously in danger, I would risk my life to protect their ability to express their culture. So I love that we live in a country where they have perfect freedom to do all of that, right? But once we get into is it the right thing or not the right thing, and we're just having a conversation, not what is law and not law, right? No way, no way, no way. Whenever I see the kids of all the different fundamentalist religions, I think, oh, please don't ruin their lives. You know, there's Turkish kids that go into fundamentalist Islamic schools, and they memorize the entire Quran in Arabic. They don't speak Arabic, they speak Turkish. They don't know a word of what they're saying, but they waste their childhood memorizing the Quran in a language they don't even speak or understand. So when I see that, I think, please don't waste your kid's life. Let them go play kickball and dodgeball and have fun and try to get laid by Mary or Aisha. You know, it's when they're old enough. Don't do this to the kid. Wear the giant hats or read the Quran in a language they don't even understand. Don't do it, man.
All right.
All right. My views on it are very clear.
Well, we're going to end on that note. We ran out of time. But if you're a member, stick around. We have a post-game show for you guys. And if you're not, make sure you watch Cenk tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern on MSNBC. We'll see you tomorrow.